Okay.
Okay. All right. Welcome. We got together. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
Good
John.
morning.
All right. So the common factor is I know all of you. You don't all know each other. And so I wanted to take a moment right off at the start. And Craig, I know you need to hop off at 20 to the hour. So we'll get the introductions and all that kind of stuff done. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the chat so you all can see. So I want you to spend some time introducing yourself to the group. I mean, these are just some questions that I put together that I thought would be a really good way for us to get started. What's really interesting and why I strongly believe that you three are all in such a great spot, and I'm so excited that you're all doing this group at the same time. The common bond for all of you is that you have all either started a new job recently or in the process of starting a new job, as in like the next couple of weeks, or started one last week. So there's some great commonality there, but I want you just to spend some time getting to know each other a little bit. And really for us to start framing out what this group is going to be and going to look like. So, Allison, can I put you on first?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Allison Yun, and I have been in the IT business for over 20 years. I typically have always served as a senior IT project manager slash technical project manager, working on web and mobile apps, specifically development, SaaS platforms, boarding new customers onto various types of platforms, including annuity platforms, and then research platforms. Most recently, as John already knows, I will be starting a new position on Monday with Monster as a senior project manager. So I'm in the midst this week of filling out background paperwork because I'll be working with their federal customers, and very excited to be moving on to this new opportunity. I think one of the things that I hope to get out of this meeting is leveraging ideas for various leadership techniques in motivating teams, and getting them to work collaboratively together towards a common vision or towards a common goal in a positive manner. There are different, ways that this can be done, and obviously, everyone else on this call has probably similar experience, and really can lend to this group. So I'm really looking forward to participating and looking forward to meeting you guys and getting to know you all and what you do and learning about some of the things you've tried out.
Awesome, Allison. Thank you for that. And congrats again on the new job.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited.
Can you share with everybody about how long did it take you to land that job?
I have been talking to Monster since April,
Mhm.
so it took quite a long time, and it was an interesting journey, as John knows, because he basically shared that journey with me from almost the beginning.
Yeah.
And it wasn't without disappointment either. So, in short, the original position that I interviewed for back in April, um, everything seemed to be going well, and I seemed to be a great fit. They decided to give that position to an internal employee, but they did come back and say, "Hey, everyone on the team loves you, and we really like you so much that we want to make a position available for you. It may take us, a little bit of time to do that, but our intent is to make that position available and make you an offer," which eventually did happen. It just took quite a bit of time, and patience. In between, I did have other opportunities, and I did get one other offer from IBM, which I chose not to accept simply because they weren't willing to tell me who my boss would be
Mhm.
or, the types of projects I would be working on. And I think that who you work for is probably the most critical factor in the entire process of finding a new position. Most employees do not work for companies, they work for individuals. That's what, at least in all of my experience, that's what I have found.
Mhm.
So my new boss was very welcoming, very forthright, showed a great deal of integrity, and she made good on what she promised. And that meant everything to me in the world.
Nice. Yeah. Really proud of you for seeing that whole process through and everything. So excited, excited.
Not without a lot of nerves, right?
Hey, no, absolutely, right? I mean, talk about there was a lot of resilience in all of that work and stuff. So it's good that we get to share this next chapter in your journey with you starting on Monday.
Oh
So
yeah, I'm excited.
can would you mind just sharing with the group what you told Monster about this group?
So Monster basically let me know that my position would be working with all units within Monster and working across, not only working with external companies, but working across teams internally. And they said that it required a lot of excellent leadership skills. And during the interview, I said, "Wow, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was recently invited to participate as part of this new leadership group that my career coach has formed." And so I really think that some of the things that I learn in that group could greatly benefit Monster and my skills and my ability to do my work at Monster.
Nice.
And they really like that
Yeah.
because
Awesome.
I think that what they're looking for, most employers are looking for that a person who's really taking out time outside of work to really improve their professional skills, whether it's getting a new certificate or it's participating in some sort of outside activity that will foster and help improve their own skills as well.
Yeah. Really good stuff. Thanks, Allison. Craig, want to share a little bit?
Sure. My name is Craig. I work for a health insurance company called Texas Independence Health Plan, and we help the most vulnerable population to get the care that they deserve. So it's a really rewarding field to be in. I've been in this field for going on 8 years. It's been an interesting journey throughout this process, but all positive things. Relocated three times for positions. So I lived kind of all over the country a little bit, learning different markets, dealing with our special needs plan. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's really an emotional type of field to be in because you're dealing with those that are the sickest population. So it hits me at home. And I think that's really what is my motivating factor to do well. So at the end of the day, that's we're trying to help those that really need the care that they deserve, especially dealing with COVID. It was an interesting year to launch a brand new plan in the state of Texas. Nobody really knew what to expect from COVID. We got through it. We were able to reduce hospitalizations by about 50%, and that's going through the pandemic, which is amazing. And we're continuing to do great things clinically. My role, I just accepted a new role. It's kind of complicated with how things were set up originally. I worked for a management company that managed the plan for the health plan. Now, over the last almost 2 years that our plan has been here, we've generated enough revenue through membership. So the plan was able to basically go and separate their ways from the management company. And I recently accepted the vice president of sales position for the organization. So I'm in having some technology issues trying to get on here. I lost my internet connection. I have 3 screens going. I don't know where my camera is. trying to get my audio up and running. And next time we jump on a call, I should hopefully be a little bit better prepared. But I've been having a number of issues with my internet service provider. But anyways, yeah, it's been an interesting journey. John's been a part of it, gosh, since like 2014. I think we really started working together, even maybe even into late 2013. It's been, I don't know, it's really been an awesome. I think one of the things for me that's the most rewarding is really starting this plan from the ground up. We're the largest I-SNP plan in the state of Texas. We're beating the healthcare giant, United Healthcare. You know, that's I worked for them previously in Maine, New Hampshire, and Illinois. So being able to launch a new plan and beat them is kind of my little tap on my back that motivates me every day to make sure that we're continuing to grow and beat those that have millions of dollars of resources at their fingertips. So it's nice to know that we're doing really well.
So Craig, do you want to be an honorary Texan?
So well, I don't know what you mean by that, but I live in Texas now.
Yeah.
So
the reason I made that comment is I'm from Texas. I'm from Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right.
Arlington,
I
okay.
forgot
I
about
live in
that.
Georgetown. I live in Georgetown, just a little north of Austin.
Okay. All right. My cousin lives in Round Rock. I'm originally
Okay.
from Arlington.
Very cool.
Up north, and
Go Yankees. The Yankees are playing the Rangers right now. So.
Oh, are they? Okay.
They are.
I wasn't watching that. Awesome.
Are they actually playing, or are they just showing up in uniform and standing on the field?
Yeah, well, we can have a whole other conversation about how the Yankees have been playing, but
oh, it hurts. It hurts.
Pitiful.
Yes.
Downright pitiful.
Are you a Yankees fan,
Okay.
Katie?
I am.
Nice. Allison, we're gonna have to make. Are you a Yankees fan?
No, I am a Texas Rangers fan through and through.
All right.
Along with a Cowboys fan. Sorry.
Ouch.
Oh my gosh. So as Craig mentioned, we've known each other since about 2014. What he did not share was that I met him for the first time in Ohio at a professional bowling regional tournament with the PBA, and we're both left-handed. And through a mutual friend was able to like make a connection, and we started chatting online about bowling stuff. And then I started seeing him at tournaments, and we've both kind of helped each other out bowling wise and all that kind of stuff. And that's literally how our friendship and our working relationship started, because when I launched my coaching practice part-time back in 2016, Craig, you were like one of the first people I worked with. And so, you know, I've had a chance to see Craig navigate through all of these different, you know, job relocations and job switches and all that kind of stuff. It's been really exciting watching and seeing him grow and all that kind of stuff. So aside from being a professional bowler, he also played, I always say semi-pro baseball, but is that accurate?
Well, I got paid, so
Yeah.
I guess you can call it professional. Wasn't anything significant to where I could retire. So, yeah, it was independent baseball, not affiliated with Major League Baseball. But I don't know, we were still playing with guys that were drafted high ranks that unfortunately, you know, maybe didn't work out, or they were in the later part of their career, you know, 35, 40, that they still wanted to play. So the talent was still pretty good.
Hey, some of those independent leagues are where it's at right now. The Savannah Bananas is top of my list of events to go to in the sports world right now.
Oh, really? Yeah. I played, and another interesting fact is when John and I actually met, I had just moved from Fairfax, Virginia, which is really close to where John lives, to New York, back home to, I was actually starting with a new company. And I was like, man, that would have been great to be able to to bowl with
We would have a good
you.
time. Yeah.
I know. It's
So-
just how funny how the world works in that
Yeah.
area.
Craig, what are you hoping to get out of the group?
No, I want to be a sponge. I like to, with my athletic background, I learn and feed off of other people. So just having good conversations, having back and forth dialogue, learning from each and every one of you guys' experience, and just try to take everything in, and hopefully I can, provide some solid feedback to you guys from my experience, and hopefully I can get something from you guys. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and obviously getting to work with new people always gets me excited.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Katie, tell
All
us
right.
all about yourself.
Yeah. Well, before I start, Craig, I noticed a 315 number. Are you from the Syracuse area?
Yeah, I'm from Utica.
Okay. I went to grad school at Syracuse, so that's why
Awesome.
Okay.
it jumped out.
40
at me.
minutes. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm Katie. I currently work with a small company called Engagement Partners. We specialize in deepening emotional connections with your customers and your employees. So most of the individuals in our company have a Disney background. And so we're all about, creating memories and helping to foster relationships with your tribe, as we like to say. So I'm a special projects manager with them. I recently joined the company in March. Prior to that, I was the director of event presentation and fan engagement for the University of Virginia for 7 years. So I've been in the sports and entertainment industry for my entire career, dating back to internships that I had in college. I've been in the business about 13 years now. And was just ready for a change and wanted to really look at more of the holistic customer journey. We say that it's not just when you show up at the gates, it's not even anymore from the time you leave your driveway to the time you return to your driveway. It's what is the process like when you first start even thinking about buying a ticket, and how can we have an impact on your entire customer journey? And so I love having a hand in all of that. So we work on a number of different projects, from customer journey mapping to rewards and recognitions, and helping to train game day staff, whether it's, the ushers that have worked for your group for 50 years, or whether they're individuals that you're bussing in from different cities that come and help your staff on game day. They're all part of the front line that have an impact on your fans and the experience they have in your venues. Allison, you kind of touched on it, of what's the one thing that you like most about your current job. Is I absolutely love my team. Like I said, they're from Disney. They are all about, we follow the Disney chain of success, that leadership excellence drives employee excellence, drives customer and guest satisfaction, which leads to business results. And we really practice what we preach. And I'm incredibly grateful for the team and the leadership that I have, and how much they have helped me grow in the last 6 months alone. I think the reasons why I'm interested in this group are, when I was looking at this program and kind of seeing how it compared to other programs, so many of them hit on what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, how do you build on your strengths and weaknesses. But this one really focused on, your energy levels and like how you respond in stressful situations. And being in a small startup and a remote company is something that is completely different to me, but I'm used to the fast-paced nature. But I still know that despite being in a fast-paced nature my entire career, there are probably some leadership things that I could handle better in stressful situations. So looking forward to learning the skill sets to be able to navigate those and to be able to then translate that to our clients, because, they're all dealing with that every single day. When you have hordes of people trying to deal with mobile ticketing for the first time and trying to get into gates, it's a challenge for a lot of people. When you're on headset with 20 some people trying to get a promotion and timeout done in 2 minutes before the team takes the field again, there's different ways that you respond to people. So excited about all those things and be able to then translate that back to everybody that we're working with.
Katie, could you, because you and I emailed a lot back and forth over the last few weeks, but for Craig and Allison, can you just give them an idea, like what your last 2 weeks have been like?
Sure.
Like
so
where you've been and all that? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still based in Charlottesville, Virginia, but I've actually been living in State College. I am here for an entire month. So Penn State is one of my clients, which is phenomenal for me. It's my alma mater, so I'm thrilled to be back. So last Saturday, I got to experience the whiteout again, which was an absolute thrill to be able to see. It's been the outside, I think we said in a meeting today, outside of the Indianapolis 500, it's been the largest event that has been hosted in 2 years. So we had 109,000 people that were in the stadium, all in, I mean, largely in white. We had a few orange people, orange Auburn fans trickle in here and there, but for the most part, it was a sea of white, and it was an incredible atmosphere. So I'm here on location, helping to implement some of the programs that we started. So we've helped to develop common purpose and service standards, and then that rolled into a game day service training program, and then a rewards and recognition program that we're helping to implement for all of the game day staff. So I'm here helping to implement that and get that rolling for football, which will then translate into other sports.
Nice. And then you had like a tour down south before that, didn't you? You were like five different campuses or places and stuff.
Yeah, so we have a sister company as well that does a lot of sponsorship activation and mobile tours. So they did a mobile tour. It's called it's with ESPN Tailgate Events. And so they partner with Dollar General and Anheuser-Busch as the anchors, have a few other sponsors in there, Roof Claim, Ticket Smarter, Jewelry TV, but we did a mobile activation. They're doing 18 different locations throughout the college football season. Well, there's only 12 weeks, so we kind of had to double up some weeks. And so Labor Day weekend, we went from Charlotte on Thursday to Blacksburg, Virginia on Friday, back to Charlotte on Saturday, to Mobile, Alabama on or Montgomery, Alabama on Sunday, to Atlanta on Monday. So we had a whirlwind tour for me to fly back to Charlottesville on Tuesday, to drive up to State College on Wednesday, and move up here for a month. So I have been on the road every single week for the last 6 weeks, and I will be on the road for another 2.
Yeah. So really glad you're here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any of the Disney background or Disney leadership training as well, or no?
Yeah, so I did a 9-month graduate internship, which is how I got somewhat connected to some of the individuals that are in my company. So one of our senior partners, he was the general manager for the ESPN Wildwater Sports Complex for 20 years.
Mhm.
And he had actually started the program that I was in. So he built the internship program that I was a part of.
Nice.
And then his son, who is actually our managing partner, was part of the Disney Institute for 6 years.
Okay, cool.
So we all have a lot of Disney ties.
Good stuff. All right. So hopefully this gives you a little idea about each of you and the strengths that each of you bring. So what I want to just spend a couple minutes here is just go over some housekeeping and logistics with everybody. And I'm going to pop some stuff in the chat just so you can see it. So as terms of like ground rules and things, obviously what I'd love for all of you to honor here is that you play full out. And by playing full out means that you're coming to the sessions and you are fully engaged, and you're treating this like you would treat any other work meeting. Maybe just a little bit more if you can, right? So like shut your email off, or try not to be too focused in on the emails and stuff like that. But really, this is your time. This is your professional development time and your leadership development time. So to play full out in that, and to play full out in the private Facebook group as well. I'm going to go ahead and set that up over the next couple of days. Great story. The landscapers came in my development to cut the grass, and for the second time in 3 months, snipped my internet cord. So I'm running this off of my hotspot on my phone, and just didn't get to some stuff I wanted to get done to yesterday. So I will set up the Facebook group and send you an invite to all of that. But the Facebook group does this. So it'll house all of the logistical information for the group, the Zoom meeting invites, things like that. I'll still send you email invites so you have them. And then it'll house all of the recordings as well. So if you happen to miss a week or you want to go back and listen to something, you can go into the private Facebook group and check out the recording there as well. But it is also there for discussion. So I like to say that we're going to cover a lot of stuff during the session, but there's also going to be a lot of things that are going to go in your mind. And one of the great parts about having a group is that you get to rely on each other for support in between those sessions as well. So what that means is when you have a question about something, post it. We want to celebrate your successes. We want to be there for your challenges as well. And use the Facebook group for whatever kind of support and engagement that you want. And I'll be checking in with the Facebook group as well. I might post something in there just to kind of get some thoughts going, or if we're having some accountability, to use that as an accountability structure as well. So you have that. Leadership can be messy, and leadership is certainly a journey, and all of you have been on this, and collectively, you're going to be a part of this moving forward. So in that, there's going to be a lot of ideas. And the ground rule that has served me really well for a very, very long time is facilitating meetings and groups and such is challenge ideas and not people, right? So if you're curious about something that somebody's posing, we set the ground rule that you can challenge that, but it's never about attacking someone. All right. It's never about saying that's a stupid idea, correct? You know, none of that, right? We're just going to keep it. You know, we can challenge the idea, but it's never, ever, ever about the person. And in that, there's no dumb question, right? We get to figure all of these things out together. And then lastly, is just to honor the time, right? Honor the time that we're here in the group, honor the time that we're talking back and forth and things like that. One of the things that I see as part of this group is to do some live coaching with each of you in front of the group, just to work out some things that might be of particular interest or a challenge. It might be around stress. It might be around engaging your team a little bit differently. It might be, I just started this new job last week and they don't have their act together. So how do I manage up, or how do I make this better for my team? Whatever those things may be. So there'll be times where coaching will happen in this group as well. And so we just use this to honor the time in that as well. As part of this, each of you get 4 one-on-one coaching sessions with me. And I know when we talked about this, yeah, it is not going to let me load my schedule thing right now. So I will email that to you. You can use those 4 one-on-one sessions whenever you want. So I know it was, it was like 1 a month kind of thing. If you've got something going on and you want to work with me one-on-one around that, I don't care if we meet 4 times in 1 week. It is for whatever you need. I'm here for you on that. So I'll send you the calendar link. You just go ahead and schedule your sessions when you want and get them on the calendar as needed. Okay, so you have that. Any questions on any of that logistics or housekeeping type stuff? Does all sound good?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You probably heard some of the conversation Katie and I were having. Katie has not taken the ELI yet. Craig and Allison, you both have. Do you have your results?
No,
Do you know where they are?
I apologize.
You don't need
they're
them
on
today.
my
You don't
old
need them
computer.
today. All
Yeah,
right.
if you have it, I'm gonna need it. I meant to email that to you
I'll send
the other day when you sent out the invite that we'll need it. Unfortunately, I don't have it.
I'll send it to you. Allison, you've got yours fresh in mind, right?
I think it's been a while since we reviewed those. I was actually checking my email to see if I could find those.
You want me to resend it to you?
Yeah, that would be helpful if
Okay.
you can.
I can do that. That'll be the easiest thing I do all day. That's great.
And your phone's not getting hot yet with that hotspot, is it?
It is not. No, it's actually it's pretty good. All right. And then Katie, what I'm thinking, what I think may be better is if I just activate a new assessment link for you.
Okay.
Okay. That way, then you can go ahead and use that link, and then I'll work with them on figuring out what went on with those results and stuff like that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I'll
I can get that done tonight.
Okay. And then just let me know when you want to schedule the debrief, and you can even use the same calendar link as well.
Okay.
But if you don't see something in there, and let me also say this, like ideally it would be great if we could debrief by next Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
If we
not a problem.
if we don't, as long as I have your results, I can do what we're going to do next week, and we can get that started. Okay.
Perfect.
So I don't want to add on any additional stress and pressure to what you have going on there, but it's all good. It's all good in that respect. Okay.
No problem.
All right. Great. Thanks. All right. Here's the question I wanted us to bat around first in terms of, especially in light of what all of you shared, just to get the conversation started. And it's this: what is the one leadership quality that you demonstrate every single day to your team, to your company, to your colleagues, that without question, they would wholeheartedly agree with?
Who's going first?
Anybody?
That's a hard question, John.
What's that?
I said that's a hard question, John.
I know. That's why
Yeah.
I was just giving you. That's why I was just giving you space just to kind of think about that, right?
Can you repeat the question just one more time?
Sure. What is the one leadership quality that you demonstrate every day without question that your team and your colleagues would agree with?
For me, that
I
would
would
be
say-
integrity. Oops,
No,
sorry.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Allison.
I was just gonna say integrity.
Tell me more.
Integrity in that you're always open and honest with those that you're interacting with. You're giving them, fruitful and honest feedback that they can actually take action on and make improvements on, and doing it in such a way that it's not demeaning in any way. It's actually you're expressing that you care about whoever it is that you're interacting with.
I thought I was going to sneeze. Sorry.
At least you didn't drink a drink and something came out of your nose, right?
That's true. That is true, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. Craig, what is it for you?
I was going to go with integrity as well, but to give you something maybe a little bit different, I would say the communication piece that I have with my team and the people that I work with, I think it's extremely important. Already having some frustrations here with the new position, dealing with other executives who aren't playing by I need to establish some ground rules with them, because it's been, we've started, just for an example, there's a lot of systems that haven't been in place. We've been here for a week. I'm still waiting for them to get done. I have no direction on who to go to, where to go to, and just trying to figure everything out on my own is frustrating, especially when it comes to IT and technology. I cannot do things on my own. I need certain security parameters to be able to have access to do certain things. And I'm sitting here waiting.
And frustrated.
And frustrated. And I'm trying to be polite. Yes. But I would say, yeah, I would say communication, integrity, honesty. Those are some of the leadership qualities that I want to make sure that, with my team, knowing that my doors, even though we work remotely, that my door is always open. If they need anything, please call me, text me. Doesn't matter what time, day or night. I want to make sure that I'm there for them, because there's a lot of rules and regulations that we have to go by with the government. I don't know the answers to everything. I know where to get them, So being able to work with them and train them, coach them, and help them try to find the answers as well to get them the ability to, in essence, do it on or do it on their own.
Got it. Thank you. Katie, what about for you?
I would say one of the things is I try to be an empathetic leader and really listen to a lot of situations that individuals are bringing, particularly in sports and entertainment. We deal with a lot of, young individuals working. I've led a lot of interns that are inexperienced in working in the field sometimes. So you have to give them a lot of guidance. Particularly now we're dealing with a lot of staffing shortages in a number of different ways, and understanding the challenges that individuals face to get their role done. And even within our own team of, understanding what challenges they face. So I think being an empathetic leader provides them an ear to listen to and helps them. I love a challenge. I love problem solving. So then I think it's also then coming and working with them to help find a solution. Kind of building off of what Craig said, there's times where I know that I don't demonstrate that. My sister still laughs about the time that I had fire coming out of my eyes because my intern screwed up a promo for the third game in a row, and I gave them all the details to not screw it up, and they still did. But so there's times where I may not always demonstrate it, but for the most part, I think I demonstrate that pretty well.
Okay, good stuff. Craig, I want to be respectful of time. We're at almost 20 of. You good?
Yep, my wife was just giving me the.
Yeah, I saw the look. Yeah.
So, okay. All right, guys, thank you. Looking forward to working with all of you guys and continuing this class. And I'll catch up on the recording that will be posted, I believe you said, on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll put it in the Facebook group, and I'll invite all you to that. Yep.
All right, very good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot, Craig. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you, Craig.
All right, take care. Thank you.
So Katie, I have a quick question for you because I was really interested about the story about giving the instructions 3 different times and they
Yes.
still got it wrong. So what was your takeaway from that? I mean, were you able to try to somehow figure out why perhaps this person may have messed it up for the 3rd time in a row for you, or how did you work through that?
So it was interesting. So it was a delivery of the game, pizza delivery of the game. So they had to go to the concession stand and get pizzas, and they had a challenge of getting it from the stand or getting it from the right stand 2 games in a row. So I said, all right, I'm going to give them every tool that they need to be successful. And, we have scripts, we have intern timelines, we have an intern meeting, we have an intern, we would have a whole dry rehearsal prior to the game so that they knew exactly what needed to happen. And I said, I don't know what, keywords you need to give these individuals. It's the delivery of the game. We need 20 pizzas. It's for athletics. Like, give them every cue you can think of that will tell them that, these are the pizzas that they need. They'll give them to you. This is all arranged. Sure enough, they don't show up with the pizzas. I said, what happened? We went to the wrong stand. And at that point, I had absolutely no sympathy because I said, I worked on this timeline for 4 hours until 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Like, there's no explanation for you not following this. So, I mean, at that point, it was more of a, you need to shape up because I've given you every tool to be successful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always found those types of situations to be super challenging. I've had similar situations, and it's really hard because I think some people mean well.
Yeah.
There's not a bad bone in their body, but it was simply there was something they weren't paying attention to, or and I think in those situations, sometimes I presented it as, is there something I may have missed, or what was the challenge that you faced that perhaps kept you from delivering the pizzas, let's say?
Right.
And did they
and
just
it was literally, they just didn't follow directions.
Wow. Yeah, that's really that's really tough.
Right. And at that point, I was not very empathetic.
So what was their response? Were they at
Yeah.
least willing to acknowledge the mistake, acknowledge anything,
No,
or
it's just like, oh, okay. You know, and that's where I get even more frustrated because, you know, at least own your mistakes, you know, understand
yeah,
like there's no excuse. I completely missed it. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Okay. Then we can move on from it. But when you just say, oh, I got it wrong, oops, then I get frustrated.
yeah, that would be super frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Absolutely.
And it was something I faced, you know, every single year. I felt like our intern class got worse and worse and worse in terms of being able to follow simple directions. And
What schools did they come from?
Virginia, they were book smart, they were not common sense smart.
That's weird because most kids who are book smart, at least I have found,
Oh,
are particularly good about reading and following instructions because that's one of the basics, especially if you are, let's say, in the gifted, GT program,
right,
right?
right.
So that's a little surprising, but maybe it was that they were, because now I'm thinking about my own son,
Right.
and he is extremely bright, and book smart, as you described, but he doesn't have any common sense when it comes to the real world.
Yeah.
And so I can easily see how frustrating that might be.
Yeah. You know, and I would think back to like my intern experiences, and it's funny, you know, like I've talked to, you know, my former supervisor about it a number of times, and they had overhauled the internship program since I had been here. But I mean, we used to provide our interns scripts and have a full rehearsal of every single promo. And I would spend hours making a timeline with every single detail and have a meeting to review it. And things still wouldn't go right. And, you know, when I was an intern, we literally showed up. Our boss said, here's the script for today, guys. And we would all look at each other in the circle and go, okay, you got that one? Great. You got that one? Great. All right, moving on. I mean, we all delegated it amongst ourselves and knew what we had to do.
I think I think that it may be a generational change in where the focus is, right?
Yeah.
So when their focus is on, and I hate again to go back to my own kid, I blame it on the electronics
Mm-hmm.
and half paying attention and not paying attention
Right.
to detail and not being focused. For example, John, you threw out there, hey, when you come to this meeting, be focused, be
Sure.
prepared to contribute. And I almost think that their brains are like half thinking about the next video game or whatever it is that they're going to play that evening when they meet up with their friends. Because I constantly have to walk through details,
Right.
especially with my kid. Um, but to give him the benefit of the doubt, I mean, he's very book smart and he is working his own internship, but he has required handholding through his
Mm-hmm.
own internship where we as a family have gotten together and we meet with him every day to review all of the assignments given and make sure he understands, to give him the family support. And I guess other families don't have the same type of support systems.
Right.
Um, and so, what is the trick to getting them to think in a more, what is the right word for it? Aggressive and focused mindset to be successful at work? Like you would think that they would want to be successful, right? And
Right.
especially if you're outlining everything for them. Um, Maybe the exercise might be for them to outline it for themselves and to present the outline to you so that they can prove that they understood what you said.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried that as a potential solution for them to present to you?
We had graduate assistants working in our office at one point that we would try to have them do some of our timelines for some of the smaller sports. So like men's soccer for something like that, and give them something that they could kind of ease into. We never gave them the larger like football or men's basketball because most of them, there were just too many details that they were missing. And we found that they were struggling to even handle, a simple men's soccer one that would have like 3 promotions and a few details in that. So, that was one of the other challenges I had. It was like, I tried to even give them the simple ones and see if they could elevate to the more complicated ones.
So do you think that the core issue may be in how you guys are filtering and recruiting the interns in terms of assessing skills up front before they get hired?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely something that was presented. So I mean, trying to be vulnerable and go to my boss and say, I'm struggling with this. This is not working. I don't know where we're going wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like, help me figure out as a manager and a leader what I need to do differently. And it was actually reflected in my review that I probably needed to do a better job of hiring. So that was interesting to get the feedback then, as opposed to more at front. And that's one of the things that I've learned in this current role is like more hiring for behaviors and framing questions for hiring for behaviors as opposed to, just hiring for whatever the role is.
Right, right. And I know that there are some companies out there, I'm sure you're aware, Capital One is one of them, I know. They go through a series of behavioral tests that each applicant actually has to take. And they do this assessment up front to determine if they are a good match, both for the company and the team, as well as the skill set.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, even through your screening, at least this is my perception, because I've interviewed a lot of folks, I think there are aspects or attributes that are more accurately assessed through formal exams or tests than a regular, face-to-face, interview, in an hour. It is more expensive, and I think it takes, obviously dollars to back that.
Right.
But if this is a consistent issue, maybe that might be an option. I don't know.
Yeah. Fortunately, that was more in my old role, and I don't have to deal with that as much anymore. I just have to advise. I can advise on it, but I don't have to do it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Allison, you talked about integrity. Katie, you talked about empathy as leadership skills that you both demonstrate on a daily basis. When it comes to the people you report to, your boss, your leadership that you go to, what leadership trait needs to be paramount for them? And it could be similar or it could be different, but what's the one leadership trait that you must have from your boss?
That's really hard to pinpoint one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just tell me what's coming to mind then.
Allison, I can go if you need a second.
Yeah, go ahead. I was actually waiting for you to speak. I should have.
Okay. I mean, I would just say a general acknowledgement and appreciation of work. I mean, that is one thing that my boss is phenomenal about is, even if the idea is not a great idea, it's like, okay, I appreciate where you're going with that. Like, let's tailor it towards this, or let's think about it in this frame way. There's no such thing as a bad idea in his mind, or I love the way he kind of tailors things so that he shows how much he appreciates the thought and time and effort that you put into work. And And one of the things that he's actually implemented is, every 2 weeks we have phone calls that are literally just personal check-ins of like, how are you doing? Where, what's on your plate? Not even what's on your plate. Like, it's supposed to not be a work thing. It's what's troubling you? What are you frustrated with? What is going well? How can I help? And just understanding workload and appreciating the amount of work that we do. And every single time, a lot of the times that I hang up with him, phone calls end with "appreciate you." And that goes such a long way, particularly for the amount of hours that you tend to put in the sports and entertainment industry. There's no such thing as a 40-hour work week in this world.
Not at all. It's nice that your boss can communicate that.
Yes.
I would definitely agree with you, Katie. I think that to kind of dovetail onto that fact, not only being appreciative, but being fully aware of what it is you're working on, and understanding the level of effort required to do what it is that you've been doing and acknowledge it. I think
Yes.
that is so important because I think a lot of bosses are totally, completely disengaged. They don't necessarily know what you've been doing, nor what it takes to do it because they haven't done the work themselves. And that I have found challenging in previous bosses. The bean counter not knowing what his bean counters are doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think some bosses can't provide that feedback or appreciation because they just have no concept as to what you've done or the
Well,
level
and
of
I've
effort
also
that it
heard
took.
too, it's like, okay, go ahead and take a day off. And it's like, well, that's great. But then how much further behind am I going to be because I'm taking, like, you're not taking the workload, or you're not telling me who else can take the workload. So you're telling me to leave early, or you're telling me to take a day off, but then I'm going to have to work twice as hard to make up for that time. And that's going to end up being more stressful.
Unless you tell your boss, hey, I can take the day off, but just know that XYZ won't get done until X date. It won't
Yep.
get done on the date that I told you, it'll get done on this date. And I know that's a struggle too, because a lot of people don't want to have to say, I'm not going to get something done by the date that they said. But in the same token, if your boss is the one saying, hey, you're overworked, I see you're overworked, take a day off, then they should also be receptive to you saying, these other things are going to be delayed, and I just wanted to let you know that. And for the boss to say, great, that's fine. I understand. Your mental health is more important to me than these things getting done. Because that's also a form of empathy and caring and appreciation, right? Understanding that you can't keep, burning at both ends of the stick and still make things happen because eventually you're going to break.
Right.
Yeah, those are two really good observations. I mean, what I've written down here, is it's not directly reflective of what you communicated, but it's more like the pain point, which is like having the boss that's out of touch, right? Having someone who is not aware of the workload, who doesn't appreciate, doesn't acknowledge, those are things that cause us stress in the workplace, because if we don't have a leader who sees us, and if they don't see us for all the things we're contributing to, that we're doing on a daily basis, but also if they're not capable or have the competence to help when needed, it can definitely make that relationship feel as if you're on the island and you don't know what the hell they're doing. Right?
Right.
Makes sense, right? So for you in this group, right, part of it is going to be, when we think about this in regards to the energetic lens, and we think about the core thought, the core action, the core emotion that is associated with everything we do, be it professionally or even personally, we think about that energetic lens. The question is always going to be, how is that serving you? right? And so, Katie, I know you don't have the context necessarily yet, but like anything that we do, the question is, how is that going to serve us? How is that going to serve the team? How is that serving my clients, my customers, my fans that are in this entire experience? What does, if I input this energy and I get this output of energy, how is that going to serve? That's what we need to be digging into. That's where we're going to have a lot of fun in exploring all of these things based on the situations and stuff. So some good jumping off points for sure. Yeah. All right.
I'm excited for it.
Good. Same here.
Well, I'm excited, particularly Katie. I've been enjoying listening to you, just being in that industry, the sports and entertainment industry. One of the companies that I did interview with was in the sports and entertainment industry early on, and I even forgot, John, the name of that company. I would have to look on my LinkedIn to see who I linked in with. It was weird, but anyway. But it just sounds like really exciting. On one hand, I'm hearing a lot of excitement from you, but on the other hand, I hear a lot of stress. Like,
it can be,
especially like since you're on the road constantly. Like, how do you handle that?
It has been interesting, and that's one thing that I'm so appreciative of the team that I have. Is my boss is very adamant about take care of yourself. He's like, go to the gym, make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do so that you don't burn yourself out. So I mean, those are the things that I see from my leadership every single day, and things that I want to emulate in my future leadership style. Like I said, I've learned more in 6 months than I have probably in my entire career from the team that I'm with right now. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not without challenges, but when you experience, games like I had on Saturday, I mean, I was rubbing elbows with Saquon Barkley on the sideline of the football game, so how could you hate that? It makes it all worth it in the end.
Nice. Good stuff. All right.
All of a sudden I realized he's right next to me, and I was like, this sideline's getting a little crowded, and I think Saquon needs that spot a little bit more than I do. I'm going to just move on over here.
I think the closest that I ever got to the sports industry was when I worked for Staubach. Roger Staubach's commercial real estate and design firm. And that was probably the most amazing experiences working with Roger. Just very humble, very appreciative, and very positive. Really enjoyed it.
The sports entertainment industry, I mean, yes, it's definitely got its stresses. It's definitely a lot of hours, but I mean, it is some of the most fun you'll ever have. I mean, I think back to some of the experiences that I've had, the connections that I've made. I was talking to somebody not too long ago, like I did an internship with Steiner Sports the summer that Derek Jeter had his 3,000th hit, and we had exclusive rights to all of his memorabilia. We put in so many hours in the office trying to do autograph sessions and get all that memorabilia out the door and everything, but it was totally worth it because the team was so much fun, and that's the thing, is that you have to have a fun team around you.
Katie, does the name, so speaking about Jeter and the Yankees and Steiner Sport, does the name Ed Lucas ring a bell to you?
No.
Ed has the distinction of being one of 3 people to have ever been married at home plate at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, wow.
And Ed has been a reporter for the Yankees for over 40 years, and he's blind.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So I know this because one of my nearest and dearest best friends is related to Ed by marriage.
Okay.
And Ed will call up Ken and be like, hey, need to get going to the game today. Do you want to be my eyes? And so Kenny would take Ed to the game, and then he'd be like, get me Jeter, get me Girardi, get me A-Rod. And, and he would like be pulling players over to come talk to Ed. And Ed always talked about the relationship that he had with Jeter, and they were both there when he hit his 3,000th home run.
Oh, wow.
3,000th hit or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And,
well, it was a home run for the 3,000th hit. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Ed and his son Chris wrote a book called Seeing Home,
Okay.
and it's Ed's autobiography.
All right. I'll have to look that up.
Fantastic read. So yeah.
I'm always looking for new books. My boss and I, that's the other thing. So my boss and I help run our podcast. And so we're always, looking for new content and new ideas. And so we're always looking for new books, new stories, all kinds of things. So.
Well, yeah, if you find that interesting and you ever want a connection, I'm happy to make that. That's easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right.
I love hearing stories about Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
That was my one regret from that internship, is that we had 3 autograph signings with him that summer and I never got to go to one of them. I know.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, look, we're off to a good start. If you have any questions in the meantime, by all means, just reach out. Katie, I'll activate that new link for you.
Okay, sounds good.
That, and Allison, look for an email from me. I'll resend your ELI results as well. And I'm excited. Great way to kick this all off. Thank you both very, very much. Thanks, Craig, too. And I'll see you next Tuesday at 11 Eastern.
Awesome. Thank
Sounds
you.
great.
Allison, great to
Looking
meet
forward
you.
to it. Great to meet you too, Katie.
Thanks. Take care, everybody. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.